A new technique to speed up 3D viewports by a lot, a mega inspiring VFX breakdown, and a crazy new feature comes to Adobe Illustrator. It's Motion Mondays, and it's time to pump up the jam. A few weeks back, EJ talked about Houdini 21, and now SideFX dropped the keynote recording from SIGGRAPH 2025. This is a landmark update, and here's the thing. SideFX is weaving in machine learning in ways that give artists more power, not replacing their creativity. There's been a complete overhaul to the KineFX system with a new motion mixer, animation catalog, and enhanced auto rig builder. This makes assembling and transferring rigs much faster while keeping everything procedural and non-destructive, which is Houdini's strength. They've added a new GPU accelerated soft tissue solver. Just try to say that 3 times fast. Delivering high quality results at very high speeds with muscle simulation, collision detection, and skin sliding. Plus, there are native machine learning nodes for style transfer, tissue deformation, and pyro upresing. And under the hood, Vulkan replaced OpenGL, giving real-time ambient occlusion and much faster performance. There's early Gaussian splat support, card destruction tools, and honestly a ridiculous amount of new features, which is great unless you don't know Houdini, in which case it's probably now even more intimidating. If only there were an online school secretly working on a Houdini course. Anyway, check out the keynote. It's very informative, very nerdy, with some really crazy demos. Blender guru Andrew Price went to SIGGRAPH this year and saw something that blew his mind. An experimental build of Blender that incorporated DLSS into the viewport. DLSS stands for Deep Learning Supersampling. Yes, I had to Google it. The short version is your GPU renders a low-res scene much faster, and then it uses machine learning to up-res it in real time with almost no quality loss. This technique was developed by NVIDIA for video games. You can get 10 times the frame rate with no visible quality loss. In Andrew's demo, he shows a normal Blender viewport 4 cycles render, and while the quality is good, it's definitely jerky when moving the camera around busier scenes. But turn on DLSS and it's just like BTS says, smooth like butter. This is an amazing use case for AI, and I challenge anyone to leave a nasty YouTube comment about this because it's obviously going to make working in 3D a lot more pleasant and speed up iteration. This feature is not available yet, but it may show up in an alpha build of Blender very soon. Time for a quick School Motion News roundup. So at long last, Rive Academy Volume 2 has been released into our All Access program. Volume 1 was foundational, introducing you to Rive's mental model. Volume 2 dives into creating an interactive hero section for a Jelly Bean website with an animated character, mouse tracking, advanced constraints, and nested artboards. The best part is a detailed walkthrough of Rive's responsive system. These are animations that automatically adjust based on screen size. This course has over 11 hours of content, bringing our Rive training to almost 18 hours. And the current All Access members, there are nearly 2,000 of you, by the way, don't forget our monthly portfolio review this Thursday, August 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can RSVP in the event space in the community. And if you're wondering what we're up to at School of Motion, we've added a new Coming Soon page to our site showing all the courses we're currently working on, plus upcoming portfolio review sessions and live workshops. Check it out to see what's cooking. There are so many really cool motion design events that actually take place in real life. You remember real life, that 3D environment. It's kind of like being inside of Unreal Engine, except all you need are your eyeballs in a physical location, and sometimes there's even other humans there. But anyway, there's so many events, it's actually hard to keep track of them. Fortunately, our friends at Stash have done everybody a solid and put together a comprehensive page showcasing tons of live events all over the world. There's Reframe, NodeFest, which we mentioned last week, a new off event in Montreal, Half-Res coming up, Pictoplasma NYC. There's a ton of these. You can scroll through all of them, see if any are happening near you, get information, buy tickets, and experience the ultimate in actual reality, even better than VR, believe it or not. We recently interviewed Nikolai, co-founder of Wonder Dynamics, now part of Autodesk, and their visual effects tool Flow Studio just launched a free tier. Flow Studio is an AI tool, but the entire point is using AI to give you tools for high-end visual effects in a much shorter amount of time. You get automatic clean plate creation, detailed markerless motion capture, 3D environment rebuilding, and camera tracking using sophisticated machine learning techniques. The best part is once you run your footage through the tools, you get access to the raw data, so you can use that motion capture on your own rig, swap out environments, use the generated clean plate for compositing. It's really a new kind of visual effects tool that doesn't take away any control needed for professional work. The free tier gives you 300 credits monthly, which should be plenty to try out. You're limited to 720p max exports and 100 megabyte max video uploads, plus some other limitations. But as far as trying out this state-of-the-art tool, it's pretty amazing. This might make visual effects and compositing more accessible to artists without needing to master the insanely technical stuff generally required for high-end visual effects. Substance 3D Sampler version 5.1 has dropped with some neat new features. You can automatically generate seamless tiles for structured materials like textiles or repetitive patterns. There are workflow enhancements to stack image processing results into one layer for efficiency, plus beefed up processing to help automate tedious tasks like removing folds from fabric. Adobe has also dropped a new tool called Substance 3D Reviewer, designed to make 3D object review more collaborative and interactive. Built in partnership with Meta and optimized for MetaQuest VR headsets, this lets you build 3D scenes or models and have collaborative review sessions in virtual reality. Watching the demo really kind of feels like the holodeck. It's a sneak peek at the future. While reviewing, you can even see digital doubles of other people, like cute little avatars. This isn't necessarily a motion design tool, but as the lines continuously blur in this industry, there are definitely use cases where this could be very useful. You can imagine working on arena screens and having clients put on VR headsets to actually see what it'll look like and get a sense of the scale. Mixamo is fun, but 3D artists have long lamented that it doesn't get updated very often. Now it may have competition in the open source world. Developer Scott Petrovich is working on an alternative called Mesh to Motion, and he recently shared an update dropping soon to bring feature parity much closer to Mixamo. There will be video previews, an animation player, and better navigation. And looking at the demo, it does look a lot like Mixamo, but being open source, as we've seen with Blender, this may unlock a much faster development cycle. It's got neat features like viewing bone weights right in the tool, which is definitely helpful if you're trying to decide if an animation is going to work on one of your rigs. This free tool supports humanoid, four-legged, and bird creatures with GLB, GLTF, and FBX formats supported. Check it out, the link is in the description. Time to feature some great work from great artists. First up is a directing trio that I'd heard of, but I hadn't really sunk my teeth into.
Okay, so I do not think she's gonna be a vegetarian like Mom. Do you want your broccoli? Oh man.
Yeah, they're called Meat Department. I already like them because of the name, and if you've watched Motion Mondays, you know that I really like weird stuff. Their stuff is super weird. Case in point, their video for experimental French metal band Igor's song ADHD. I'm guessing some of this is AI generated, but the consistency of the characters, the utter weirdness, frenetic editing, and how it plays with music really makes you feel like you're in a fever dream. This combines weird 3D renders, borderline disturbing imagery, and experimental heavy metal. We're 3 for 3 here. Next up, our friends at Beyond Studio dropped a project breakdown for the Red Hat 2025 Summit opener. No, not that Red Hat. It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. This combines really cool renders across multiple screens in an enormous environment, but the team also coordinated with lighting designers to integrate real elements. Lasers would fire from the back of the hall, drawing logos onto screens synced perfectly to animation.
Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads.
Wild. Finally, Barcelona-based Bowl worked with Device Animation Studio to create this conference film for Off Sevilla with a simple aesthetic that's deceptively difficult. The Saul Bass-esque shapes and simple animation require every composition to be very, very carefully crafted, especially with this really nice, simple color palette. This is gorgeous work, and it's really a masterclass in this type of motion design. Our good friend Haley Akins from Motion Hatch, who's made it her mission to help motion designers level up their business, is launching Creative and Coin, a motion design community that unlocks repeatable systems for getting great clients, fun projects, and hopefully making more money. One of the coolest things inside is what Haley's calling roadmap sprints, bi-monthly mini business challenges designed to help you implement repeatable systems for client outreach, pricing, onboarding, and stuff like that. The goal is to move you beyond the feast or famine freelance cycle. The community gives you accountability, it lets you build relationships, and share real-world results with colleagues. If you join before the 26th, which is tomorrow, you can take advantage of early bird pricing. There's also a free Motion Hatch workshop tomorrow all about building systems for your business. You can register for that at the link in the description. I recently saw what I think is my favorite movie so far this year, Sketch, directed by Seth Worley of VFX and Chill fame. Seth has directed brand films for Red Giant over the years and recently had the opportunity to direct a feature film with a reportedly $5 million budget. That is not a lot for a feature, but Seth, being a VFX genius with an amazing network of artists, was able to put together a movie that feels like it cost $100 million. Of course, I was curious how Seth pulled this off for such a small budget. There's always been this split between traditional motion design and the high-end visual effects world, but Seth is one of us. He's using After Effects, Cinema 4D, Trapcode Particular in a feature film. In this 30-minute talk, he goes through the production and VFX challenges that they faced and their solutions using sometimes really simple techniques. This is an amazing case study on being creative with your tools. If you have big ambitions, but you think After Effects and Cinema 4D aren't the right tools for the big budget looking stuff, Seth is going to prove you wrong in just 30 minutes. And it really is the old adage. It's not the tool, it's the artist, and Seth is a living example of that. Time for our School of Motion Student of the Week, Saanel Bhatnagar from India. Saanel is a freelance motion and product designer dabbling in 2D and 3D and also getting into the Rive game. He's been working through our After Effects Expression Session course and told us he never knew expressions could be this powerful. He recently completed the Exploded Salad assignment, which requires students to integrate 2D labels into a 3D render. The exercise really is there to make sure that students can grasp and move between coordinate systems using expressions, something that you have to do in After Effects, especially when you're integrating 2D elements into a 3D render. While this is more technical than creative, Saanel really nailed it. All those 2D labels track perfectly to 3D objects while maintaining correct sizing in screen space. So go check out Saanel's work. He's got beautiful stuff in that UI UX product design space, which is continuing to become a larger and larger part of this industry. When creating PBR materials in Unreal Engine, there are lots of technical gotchas that aren't obvious, especially if you're new. Ronan Mahone created a handy tool that's basically a quick checker for PBR materials. It overlays a color map onto your material showing when brightness values are too dark, too light, or in the correct range for various metals. This is insanely niche, but when you need it, this will save you hours of scratching your head trying to figure out why your material doesn't look right. PBR check is a one-trick pony, but it's a very valuable trick, so you can get it on the Fab Store. Licenses start at $15. Adobe just released their long-awaited Turntable feature in the Illustrator beta. You can now rotate 2D vector art in 3D. This is crazy. The way it works is simple. Select all the vector shapes, group them into one object, then in the Properties panel, you'll see the Turntable button. Results will vary wildly, but with simple enough artwork, you can get decent results. Once done, you have a slider to scroll around seeing different angles, and these are actually vectors. EJ tried this on his pug character vector and got even better results because it's simpler and more solid looking. How useful is this in practice? I don't really know. It's up to artists to figure out when and where this will be handy, but especially for simple vector illustrations, this is a good way of getting more variety without having to create different perspectives of artwork. So to me, this is a very cool use of AI. Photoshop's beta also added generative upscale using Firefly's AI model. You can upscale images up to 4 times larger and get a better result than you get with the built-in Photoshop tools. I tested it on a low-res car image, and while it definitely helps compared to the original blurry mess, the quality just isn't great, and it's not super useful yet. There are other tools like Topaz Labs that do a far superior job at upscaling. So while I love the idea of having this built into Photoshop, the results aren't there yet. Right now, I'm just not seeing it match what a dedicated upscaling tool can do. And that is it for this edition of Motion Mondays. Do not forget, Rive Academy Volume 2 is out right now as part of our All Access program. Also, if you're an All Access student, don't forget our upcoming portfolio review this Thursday, the 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you're wondering what we're up to at School of Motion, check out our Coming Soon page for a sneak peek. That is it for this one. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you next Monday.